Once I realized some of our clients are now in wheelchairs, right? That like are permanently wheelchair bound. I quickly realized that accessibility is everything, right? So we're talking about safety, accessibility, and just comfort in your own home. Really, that's the goal. And in the kitchen, they create some really great pull down shelves, and you can find it on Amazon, and there you could do it yourself if you're handy enough, making sure that you buy the one that is precisely measured for that cabinet, but having a pull down shelf to where you can easily grab your cans and your seasonings will really benefit our aging loved ones. Like you don't want them to reach, you definitely don't want them to have a stepping stool anywhere in that kitchen.
No.
And a lot of our aging population, from what I've noticed, they like to cook, but they're not always in the kitchen. Like, it depends on each person, I guess. But as long as everything is on the lower part of the kitchen cabinets, that's where we want to keep it. And I think those pull down shelves are really going to give you the accessibility that they need.
Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style?
Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Aging in Style. One thing that we talk a lot about on the show is keeping our seniors independent and independent at home, if that's where they want to stay, which is where most seniors want to stay, or independent in their senior community, whether that's an apartment, independent living, or assisted living. And several months ago, we interviewed Sydney Hughes, the owner of Senior Proof, and she told us some great things for keeping our seniors safe. And so I wanted to have her back and this time talk about things we could do over a weekend if we want to senior proof our mom, dad, or grandparents' home. So she's back here with us today for that. So welcome, Sydney.
Hi, thank you, Lori. Thank you for having me back on.
Of course, you're welcome. So it's also great timing because it is March and it's Women's Month. And then there's a whole week that is Women in Construction Week. That's next week, right? The 6th through, what were the dates you said?
6th through the 13th, I believe.
Okay. So what better timing, right? So for those listeners who maybe didn't listen to your podcast yet, which we'll have a link back to the original one, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Senior Proof?
Sure. Well, Senior Proof was really created out of love. My father was my first client 3 years ago, and I know what it takes to be a caregiver. So being in construction for 15 years, I was hoping that I could find a company that I could just give my credit card to and tell them to go senior proof our home. And there wasn't really many options out there. So I really saw a gap and a necessity, right? And so living it and being a part of that new chapter and transition for everyone's life, because it's not just for the independent senior, it really came out of love, and Senior Proof was it. So we are a turnkey safety proofing company for independent seniors or anyone who suffered an injury. So the small stuff from the safety proofing, the grab bars, bed rails, toilet rails, all the way up to major construction, because we are general contractors, but our niche is retrofitting homes for, again, our aging population.
And I have just loved watching your success. I watch you on LinkedIn and just follow you to see how you are growing, and you are growing just exponentially. So there is quite a need for what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. And it really is very rewarding, because I always say that every client is an extension of my father. And I really do believe in that.
Yeah, I love that. When people have a passion and a reason for what they do, it doesn't feel like work, does it? Because you're following your passion and doing something that helps so many people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is a lot of pressure because we want to make sure that we give 100% customer satisfaction, but it is construction. So sometimes there are hiccups, and we always make it right. And that's all that matters. And they're safe at the end of the day. So Absolutely. We're really proud of the work we're doing.
That's wonderful. So someone has mom, dad at home or in a retirement community, wherever they may be, and they are starting to fall, or they just want them to be safe, maybe prevent them from ever falling. What are some things that they could do in a weekend to just, senior proof their home?
So before we even get into the senior proofing side of things, we can't really do that without a proper safety evaluation. And we are CAP certified, so certified aging in place specialists with the National Association of Home Builders, and we follow all ADA guidelines. Now, this is years of experience and licensing and training and all that stuff. So I'm not going to bore you to death with all that, but I will give you some insight on the safety evaluations that we perform, because then the listener could also perform them on a smaller scale. So the first thing that we do is always look at high traction areas, right? We want to make sure that the entry, right, because they can't have to get into the house, right? Master bedroom and master bathroom are really going to be our essential areas. That's going to be the high traction areas that our independent seniors usually stay in. Some of them may, hang out in the living room, but from what our experience proves and shows is that those three areas would be the main areas of concern. So at the doorway, we want to make sure that there is accessibility. As you know, there's a lot of wheelchairs that are at least 28 to maybe up to 36 inches wide. A lot of the older homes don't have that accessibility, especially down here in South Florida. So making sure that there is either a doorway, if that means you have to take the door frame off, whatever it takes to get our independent senior inside the home is really what we need to do. Then once we're inside the home, we want to go straight, like I said, either evaluate the area, make sure that there aren't any rugs. A lot of our
they love their throw rugs. Yes, they do.
They love their rugs, but they are really, to me, a death trap. I don't recommend them being there. So making sure that picking up those rugs or throws that are on the floor, moving furniture out of the way is essential to make sure that they have a clear pathway to their master bathroom or anywhere really throughout the home. You're also going to want to make sure to organize. As we age, we consume a lot of items. Some clients, we've walked into homes that might possibly be even hoarders. You want to make sure that we want to alleviate a lot of the headache and the contents that are really in the way that could cause a trip hazard or a fall. So making sure that you organize, you declutter, and move furniture out of the way is going to be the easiest safety evaluation that you could provide. There's also lighting. As we age, our eyes become less flexible. So it'll be harder to look. It'll be harder to look at lights and different contrasts of colors. So you want to make sure that there's lighting everywhere throughout the house. If you think it's way too light, make it brighter, because really it's going to help reduce the risk of falling. And understanding the color contrasts are also a great thing to look out for. Like, for instance, if you walk into a home that's all white, right? There's white furniture, modern, everything's white, the walls are white, the countertops are white. It really makes it hard for the independent senior to relate or get a grasp of where they're standing. So you want to make sure that there's colors on the wall to kind of make sure that they know that they're walking into the living room, because again, our eyes will age, unfortunately. So making sure that we create that space for them would be a great fix. Creating that lighting also is as easy as going to the local store and getting those LED lights. You don't necessarily need an electrician to put can lights. I mean, ideally, that would be a great option, but you could always just go out and change out that bulb to that LED light bulb with the 5,000 watts. That would be an ideal scenario. If that's okay with you, let's talk about the bathroom, right? Because
yeah, absolutely. That's where most falls happen, right?
Yes, yeah, you're right. It is where most falls happen for our aging population. And there are so many great tools out there nowadays that I want to share with you all, because I think it's really going to create a positive impact in that environment. So we can't talk about fall prevention or safety without talking about grab bars, right? So grab bars, I've been asked before, what do I think is the safest concept that we could have in the home? And for sure, hands down, it will be grab bars. You could put grab bars anywhere, but what I do want to also point out is those grab bars that they sell at your local store that suction on the walls. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to steer away from those. You want to be aware that the product that they're selling, I understand, could serve a purpose. But however, as we age, we don't realize that grab bar can't hold up to the 300 pounds that, not that everybody is, but you want to make sure that there's some ADA guidelines that it's probably anchored into the wall. So I've have a fear of those. I don't know if you've ever seen those, Lori.
I have seen those, but those would make me nervous too, because it could easily, with the suction come loose, I would think. So I like the ones that are secure into the wall.
Yes, anchored into the wall. That's really where we're at. And I've had people call me because they've fallen from using those. So I really get a little nervous when I see those. So if ever you see those suction ones, I would just throw those away and get you a licensed CAP certified contractor to come in and put in your grab bars, right, per ADA guidelines. So you're going to need at least 2 grab bars, one vertically for entry, and then one across the back, 33 to 36 inches off the floor or subfloor. Making sure they're using the proper anchors are really a question that you need to ask, because it's going to be hard to hit the stud sometimes. So making sure your contractor knows that they have to use the proper anchors that hold up to 300 pounds. If
you're on a budget and you can't afford a contractor to come in and you're pretty handy yourself, is this something that someone could do on their own if they have the right grab bars? Is this something like, can you get it at Home Depot or somewhere like that? Or
absolutely, you can. But the thing is, a lot of our showers are made out of like tile or porcelain tile. So, so the likelihood is, if you don't have a professional doing them, the likelihood of you chipping that tile or improperly and putting it, like handymen like to say they install grab bars, and they probably can, but you just want to make sure it's done right. And I always say they're pretty inexpensive. They're between $30 to $60 per grab bar at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. And then whatever the labor costs in your area. But that is going to be a very small investment that I think everybody should have. And if they don't have the means, there's local municipalities that I could guarantee in your area, your local community, your local city halls that will have all of that, whether it's low income or Medicaid, there's always some type of funding, even your local hospitals. For instance, we are working with a couple of major hospital systems down here, and they have a bunch of nonprofits. I didn't even know about it until we started working with them.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, they have nonprofits. So there's always people willing out there to help. You just have to do a little research. And then bed rails. Bed rails are also outside of the shower area. We're going to talk about your high traction areas, which is going to be the master bedroom. And I always say that a bed rail is going to be a great option for a couple of reasons, right? It's going to help with mobility, getting up and down off the bed. Especially if you have mobility issues. You want to prevent the fall too in the middle of the night. In my own experience, my dad has fallen off the bed, right? And I had to pick him up and lift him off that floor. And I knew right then and there is that he needed a bed rail. So the bed rail that I always like is on our website, and you guys could head over and check it out. There's a whole community resource page. I forgot the name of it now because we manufacture our own, but you can find it on Amazon as well. It's just a little more expensive on Amazon. We want to make sure that the bed rail is anchored along the bed frame, not just the mattress, because once it's only around the mattress, it will move back and forth, and it's not going to be as sturdy as you'd like. And as you know, most of our aging population is on at least 3 or 4 medications a day, just starting, right? My dad, I think my dad was on about 8 or 9 by the time he passed a day. So those make you really drowsy sometimes. So
or dizzy.
Or dizzy, yeah. And especially waking up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom or get a sip of water. We want to make sure that that bed rail is there to prevent the fall. I also wanted to touch base on a couple things in the bedroom. There are a couple options that I shared with you last time that we spoke. There are some motion sensor add-ons that as a contractor, we always install in our master bedroom, but that could get a little pricey. So what I found on Amazon are the motion sensor stick-on lights that you could put around the bed frame, which I thought was really innovative for whoever created it, because you don't have the couple, $100 or $1,000 to create this whole rerun electrical. Now you could really just create these, buy these for about $20, and it's a 3-pack on Amazon. And I'll give you the link so you can add it on to your podcast. I forgot the name of the manufacturer, but it's such a great add-on because it's going to keep you safe. It's going to light up it's almost going to give you like a airplane lighting.
Yeah.
Right?
Taking you from the bed to the bathroom.
Kind of giving you that view into the bathroom or those attraction areas. It's really cool. A great space, and it's very cost effective. So I personally have had to senior proof my dad's home. So it's nice to always chat about these things because I've lived it. So it's like, I love being able to provide this resource to everyone. I also wanted to touch base on, if I'm giving you too much information, please.
No, you're good. You're good. These are some good, like I'm thinking things on the weekend. So some things they'd have to get a contractor, like for the shower, that sort of thing. But for on the weekend, they could add the lighting in the bathroom. They could go through the house, check for the area rugs and the high traction areas, like you're talking about, install the rail. You know, one thing, just kind of going back to the bathroom, what about a grab bar? For the toilet area, what do you suggest? Like they have those little, like you can put it over the toilet and it has the rails. Do you suggest those kind of things, or what kind of things for the toilet, helping them get off the toilet when they have those
mobility issues? Yeah.
Yes.
So the toilet rails, there's so many of them, right? There's ones that screw around the door. I've seen some that actually hang over the toilet. Like they're not even connected. They almost look like a hospital. Yeah. So those are a little scary to me. You want to make sure that they're attached correctly to the toilet frame. Or a better option would also be the drop downs that come off the wall. They usually have those at the hospitals as well, because those are going to be anchored and they're going to hold on a little more weight. But the ones that you find online, making sure that they're ADA recommended, or making sure that they hold up to 300 pounds, that would really be a great search and find on Amazon. You just don't want to go with any regular toilet rail, because it will help. It will help with the mobility issues. And then also including a riser. Those toilets, especially in those older homes, are very short. I feel like some of those bathrooms, you almost feel like you're in preschool again, but I have walked into a lot of homes that have these older toilets. So now the ADA and Alcola and all these big companies, they've realized that. So now they have chair height toilets. And so the high toilet, if you can't get a plumber out there to take out the old and put in a new, they sell risers with that's an attachment to the toilet frame for the toilet bars. And then they give you about 3 or 4 inches of height, which is great too, because you don't want to have to squat down all the way.
And many seniors can't, and then they can't get back up. So when I've been in homes, I see a lot of the risers, the ones that are connected to the rails. I guess it just sort of like sits over the toilet basically. And then then they have the rails to help them get up as well. So that's an easy fix for the weekend if you're needing to do something. Yeah, like you said, make sure whatever you get, it's ADA compliant.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I've even seen a toothbrush that says that was ADA compliant, which I thought was funny.
Toothbrush?
Yes. Which I feel like some people just put the word ADA on it, but making sure that it really holds, more important than ADA, because ADA, obviously, it was created for commercial use more than residential. So you want to just want to be sensitive to making sure the weight limit and the capacity, and making sure that it's framed proper, installed directly into the frame would be the best bet. So through 300 pounds maximum weight, and then also making sure that it's screwed down into the toilet frame. That would be your best bet. Okay. I feel like a lot of the product companies, what I've noticed is that they throw it on everything. So just making sure that the specs are right.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And then while you're in the bathroom, it's a very cold environment, especially when you're wet. And as you age, you just become a little colder. So making sure that the shower glass door is properly working, that curbless showers that we create a lot of the time, I always suggest a panel. You want to make sure that there's a shower glass door or shower door. It doesn't have to be glass, but a shower door is there for them to use the shower, because it will help reduce the heat from going out, and they're just going to be very cold. And as a caregiver, you also need them to be comfortable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when they get out of the shower, I always suggest, every time I mention someone's rug in the bathroom, they're like, my feet are cold, I might slip. Socks, those little, the socks with the grippers on the
grippies,
bottom. Are really a lifesaver, and there's no excuse after that. You're going to have to wear the socks whether you like it or or the slippers or something with the anti-slip grip.
Absolutely. What about shower chairs? Are there any that you recommend over others?
Yes, there's a swivel chair that Broward Medical Supply always uses. I could get you the link of it. It's a 360 swivel chair, and then at every 90 degrees, it stopped for the caregiver, which I thought was
that's
really
cool.
neat.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that link as well.
Okay. So we've got bathroom covered, bedroom, and then kitchen. What do you think in the kitchen? Anything we can do to keep it safe?
Yes. So kitchen is another area where I've noticed our aging loved ones have just a lot of pots and pans and clutter, right? So making sure we go shelf by shelf to make sure that only the necessities are there. You don't need all that extra stuff to confuse them, right? It's just confusing to me when I used to walk into my dad's house. He'd have dozen pots and pans. You're not even using all of them. Let's really just organize, declutter, and light up that area. Once I realized some of our clients are now in wheelchairs, right? That like are permanently wheelchair bound. I quickly realized that accessibility is everything, right? So we're talking about safety, accessibility, and just comfort in your own home. Really, that's the goal. And in the kitchen, they create some really great pull down shelves, and you can find it on Amazon, and there you could do it yourself if you're handy enough, making sure that you buy the one that is precisely measured for that cabinet, but having a pull down shelf to where you can easily grab your cans and your seasonings will really benefit our aging loved ones. Like you don't want them to reach. You definitely don't want them to have a stepping stool anywhere in that kitchen.
No.
Making sure if you see a ladder, you throw that out or you find another location for it. And a lot of our aging population, from what I've noticed, they like to cook, but they're not always in the kitchen. Like they always, it depends on each person, I guess. But as long as everything is on the lower part of the kitchen cabinets, that's where we want to keep it very low. You don't want them to need to stretch very high. And I think those pull down shelves are really going to give you the accessibility that they need.
So maybe, on a weekend, go through their kitchen, help them reorganize it, put the things that they actually do use on a daily basis down lower. The other thing that I would say, because this just came up last week, a gentleman went in to clean out his mom's pantry, and there were things from like 2009 in her pantry. So maybe spend some time on a weekend cleaning out the pantry and making sure there aren't expired items in there that they may inadvertently use. Because you know what? I think a lot of it is the expiration dates are so tiny. I have trouble seeing them. You're trying to find readers to take a look at it. And so they just don't notice that it's expired.
Part of the decluttering and organizing process is making sure that there's A, do you need it? B, is it expired? And C, is it rotten, right? Because we walked into a lot of houses that you could just tell they've got rotten food. They can't see, like you said, it's hard to see. And the freezer, believe it or not, we found things that have been, it feels like centuries old, but
oh my gosh,
you want to make sure you tackle the fridge, the freezer, everything, declutter and reorganize everything. Make sure accessibility, that their favorite items, their favorite cereals, their favorite seasonings, everything is easy at reach. And there's even grabbers, right? We use grabbers all the time here.
Oh, I love grabbers. Yeah.
Our grabbers are our promotional item, one of our promotional items here. And they sell we give them away, but they take them like hotcakes. And I would remember thinking, if my dad just had a grabber in the kitchen to grab this or grab that, that would also be a lifesaver, but we never got that far with him. But
they're great if you're short, because I'm only 5'2", and so I have a grabber and I use it all the time.
Yes, you can use it in any area of the house.
Yeah, you can.
So making sure that not only are you organizing the kitchen, but like the living room, the armoires, making sure that their space is intentional, right? Making sure that they don't have 4 or 5 tubes of toothpaste just sitting there, just really cleaning up the area and assisting them, especially if you're just there for the weekend, clean up the space, because I could guarantee you it's a little dusty. Or get somebody in there to help clean, or maybe they have the resources, have a cleaning lady come in once a month and kind of do that deep clean, the showers, really just help maintain, because as you know, as we age, our mobility is not the same. And to get on your knees and start scrubbing a shower is not easy for anyone. So making sure that you organize, you declutter, and you clean the space for them would hands down be a great option for them.
Mm-hmm. And all things that you could easily do in a weekend.
Yes. And storage, packing away, just creating a space that they're happy in, because we want to prevent the fall, but more importantly, they need to be comfortable in their own home. Right?
Yeah.
We don't want to come in and just shake up things, because when I did it personally for my father, I got a lot of heartache for it. He didn't like me moving things around. Like it takes a lot of psychological warfare to just change. And imagine just you being in your own home and somebody coming in and saying, no, we're moving this. It's got to be done in phases. It can't just be done. Like the safety aspect for sure could be done in a weekend, but like the decluttering, the throwing things away, things that might be sentimental to them, it takes a while. It's a process.
And it may be something, you have a conversation beforehand and, with love and respect that, hey, I want to make sure you're safe. Can I come in this weekend? I'd love to come over and help you find ways to be safer in your home. And I, talk to someone or listen to a podcast and they gave these great tips. So why don't we try this? And maybe it is in phases, like you do bring in a couple of things to help them with safety. And then, hey, while we were here, I kind of noticed there's a lot of clutter. Can I come back and help you with this? And just making it be respectful is what I would say, right?
Absolutely. And let's not forget about that, right? Because we could, especially in my case, I could only speak for myself, is that when we are caregiving, and especially if something unexpected just happened to your loved one, you are running on pure adrenaline, right? You are trying to balance your own family, your own career, and the emotional toll it's taking on you to see your aging loved one hurt or recovering from a fall. So you have to be mindful of their space. It's still their space, but we want to make sure that, as you said, do it with loving and a caring heart. You'll always, if you're doing it with good intention, there should be no pullback, but fortunately,
absolutely. And if you have those conversations that's the number one call that I have. And I think it's the number one thing that happens with seniors that causes a hospitalization is a fall. And so I think if you're like, mom, dad, I love you. I don't want you to fall. And it is after age 65, your chance of falling goes up. So it's like, let's just do these things that are going to keep you safe and keep you from falling.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's being proactive instead of reactive to the fall, right? That's really where the education and teaching people about ADA guidelines and CAP is that you want to create a safe space regardless of where you're at. Even when you're traveling, you still want to make sure that there's a safe space for them.
Absolutely. And also just, I realize no matter our age, we think in our minds, a lot of times we think we're still young and can do whatever, even though maybe our body is older on the outside. But I just had a gentleman this week who wanted to change a light bulb, and he got a folding chair out and got up on the folding chair, and he's 86 and fell and hit his back. He fractured his vertebrae. So that's something I want to kind of get that message out that please don't do that. Don't get on a step stool, because what happens as we're older, our balance isn't what it used to be. And our strength is not what it used to be. And definitely don't ever get on a folding chair. I mean, that's just asking for trouble no matter what your age is. But I do want to get that message out, because that was just, this man was independent and doing fine. Now he has a fractured vertebrae. They don't know how well he'll be able to walk in the future, but the falls can be a game changer for you. And that's why I wanted to do this show today. And, we talk about falls a lot, but I want to talk about staying safe in your home.
Yeah, there aren't any amount of lighting or grab bars that could prevent that from happening, right?
Exactly. So that's right.
You have to make sure that conversation happens. And that weekend, that is going to be probably... Yeah. We should have just started with that, right?
Exactly.
Let's start with sitting down and having that conversation that there's going to be some guidelines here. And these are going to be some expectations that we have. We're not going to do this. We're not going to go on folding chairs. We're not going to reach for things that are too high for you. And it's a hard conversation to have, but like you said, it's a necessity.
It definitely is. And when you have those conversations, especially I know dads are kind of like macho still, and they're like, I can do this myself. But if you are close by and you can say, Dad, just let me know, I'll come and check your light bulbs anytime I'm there. I'll change the light bulb. You don't have to worry about climbing up and, on a ladder or on a chair or whatever. I just want you to be safe and not get hurt. But I think those are all good conversations to have too.
Yeah, that weekend is going to be a long weekend.
They're
going to work. It's going to be such a great, environment and for everyone, because now that caregiver is also going to go home and sleep better at night, knowing that their house is senior proofed, or that they've decluttered and they've moved all that furniture away and created this clear pathway for them. They're also going to feel really, really great about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Because they're going to know, you did everything you could to keep them safe. You've had the conversations in an open and respectful way with them. So, that's all you can do, really.
All you could do.
Yeah.
That's all you could do.
So any other tips you can think of, or you think we've got a full weekend for people covered now?
I mean, I think we're going to fall into 2 weekends at this rate if I give them any more. But I will also send you a couple of links to being safe at home, the Rust-Oleum link, the anti-slip guard for bathrooms, which is, you could also find all that in the last podcast that we did. And on our website at seniorproofinc.com, our community resource page, there's full of questions, not only for the independent senior, but for the caregiver, right? Like, what's a medical power of attorney? How do we prevent the fall? All this information that we went over today, you could find it there as well. So we want to create a resource for not only South Florida, we are expanding Florida, thank God, but hopefully one day we'll get to Texas. And
I can't wait.
But the truth is, I want everyone to benefit from these resources, because as a caregiver, like I said, I've lived it. I know what it takes to be a caregiver. So my favorite phone calls are usually the adult child about to go crazy and not know what to do. And we guide them through it. And that's what you're doing also in Texas on a bigger scale. You're really helping the community. So thank you again for having me. And then just being a friend of mine. I mean, I'm so proud of you and
I'm so proud of you.
We're proud of each other, but we're here to be a resource. So whatever you need, we're here to help.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for being on the show again, Sydney. I appreciate it so much. And we'll send me all your links. We'll make sure we have it with the podcast. And then also I'll put it on my website too, which is LoriWilliams-seniorservices.com. Appreciate having you on, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks. Bye.